How is everyone doing? Super excited and fired up to be here talking with each and every last one of you all tonight. But y'all know how I like to start this out. Do one of the three things for me right now. Like, share, and comment, because you never know who might needs to hear this. And the whole purpose of me coming to you each and every week is to become the river and not the reservoir. So that's to provide you a value so you can go out there and multiply value to others. But I'm not going to waste any time because I got a lot of value that I'm going to be dropping tonight. And we're going to just jump it right off into courage. Now, I know a lot of us deal with this, but do we know what's actually hindering our courage on a day-to-day basis? And I'm just going to address the elephant in the room. It's called fear. Fear plays a big role in our lives. Everyone live right now that's looking at this live, it plays a big role in our lives. Now, it's a powerful emotion that can either propel people to their most creative phase despite all the struggles in their life, but it can also become destructive because now it's making you miserable because of what you could have done or what you should have done, regrets. Here's the key. Use that fear as momentum pushing you forward instead of letting it stop you in your tracks. Now, the answer is courage. Now, fear can arise in many different ways. It could be simply the fear of failure, the fear of disappointing others, the fear of disappointing yourself, financial lack, coming across as stupid, and the main one of all, what others think about us. Now, when we run away instead of embracing it, we lose the courage to actually move forward. Now, I'm just going to be giving you just a few simple tips or ways to get over it into courage. Now, I know for a fact you must understand fear first. The only thing that fear brings us is growth, but only if you're willing to endure whatever it is that you are fearing. Whenever we feel fear, it's a strong indication that we need to learn from our struggles and grow from it. Now, fear is very important to survival, as it's important to feel fear about getting into an accident while walking across the street. It's similarity important for you to actually feel fear when you face obstacles. Now, you must be able to use this and turn it into courage. But in the process, you must be operating as your original self. So that's becoming authentic. Now, this can mean a lot of things, from making a tough call to having a tough conversation or a difficult conversation, or I love this one, taking the road less traveled. Becoming authentic gives you courage to try something new or unfamiliar, hand over control about the things that you don't have control over, or just speaking your unpleasant truths. Now, also, I always talk about this, and I know y'all hear me talk about it. Environment. Now, when we're in the right environment, courage actually comes naturally because we are drawn to our vision of the future. But get this, when we're in the wrong environment, even the strongest among us crumble. So it's kind of like the yin and the yang. It's the good, the bad, up, down. But you have to be able to choose between the positive and the negative. Now, to find courage, we need to actually align ourselves with our inner values. And one thing that I know that always stuck out to me was you cannot predict your future. You can only create it. We cannot predict the future, but if you don't create it, this thing called fear, it starts to paint this scary picture of your future for you. Now, when we calm our mind and we step out of this unending narrative written by fear, get this. If we step out of it, you have to be able to step out of it. But once you step out of it, now you're connecting yourself with courage, and you'll realize that your future is just right. It's in the grasp of your hand, And then you'll figure out who is actually writing this. It's you who is writing this script. Now, I heard this story that stood out to me. I don't know where I heard it from, but it just stuck with me. And it gave me a different perspective on how I see things. Now, I heard this story about these two twins who lived in poverty and had a depressed childhood. Now, I know a lot of us have experienced this or could be currently going through it right now. But one of these twins actually set out to achieve something great and became very successful. I don't know, was it a TV show or that they were just holding interviews or whatever it was. But when a reporter asked the successful man, what attributed to your accomplishment or your success? The man simply said, I had no choice. So the reporter said, what you mean you had no choice? He said, I had to find a way out because my father was a horrible alcoholic and he abused me and my brothers. I knew that if I didn't work hard enough to seek a better life for myself, I would become just like him. So curious, the reporter, he wanted to know, how did the other twin actually deal with the horrible situation that they went through or that they endured while they was younger. So the reporter actually set out to find the other twin just to try to see how he handled the trauma that they endured while they was younger. So in the midst of him looking for him, he was even asking the successful brother, where can I find your twin? He was like, I don't know. I haven't talked to him in years. So it made the reporter job a little bit more harder. But when he discovered the other twin, he was poor and living on the streets. So when he asked the other twin, how did you get into this miserable situation? And the twin replied, I had no choice. I was cursed because my father was a horrible alcoholic and he abused me and my brother. And I didn't stand a chance. Now you see, it's two different responses to this. Now I really want you to pay attention to the story because the story shows you how two brothers who went through the same crisis, they created two totally different perspectives about their struggles. Now, we can use our struggles to grow, as you seen that the other brother did, the successful brother did, or we can just give up and settle, as you seen that the miserable brother had did, or the unsuccessful brother had did. Your circumstances do not write your destiny. Your choices will. I'm going to say that again. Your circumstances do not write your destiny. Your choices will. But you have to be able to start small. Start small. When we face seemingly difficult obstacles or adversity, giving up is not an option. I'm telling you, it is not an option. The wise thing to do is just break it down. And I love this quote or saying, eat the elephant one bite at a time. Not all at the same time. Eat the elephant one bite at a time. It's baffling to see how our minds can create these ridiculous struggles in our life. But once we start moving closer to our fears and facing them by taking small steps, notice I said small steps, we realized that it wasn't even hard at all, whatever we was fearing. Now, the illusion created by fear is dismissed when you start acting. I know y'all hear me talk about this every single week. You must act. You must act. Now, if you're scared and confused, take small steps. Or if you have any kind of fear, take small steps and build that momentum. Because that's when your character and it's when most of all, it's when your courage develops. You have to be able to start small in order to achieve big. And I want everybody to pay attention to this one. You are allowed to fail. I know our upbringing or our paradigms It kind of make us fear failure. But I'm going to tell you personally, you are allowed to fail. It is a very important step into gaining courage. It's very important. You have to be able to realize that it's okay to fail. Everyone in this world likes to play it safe. And a lot of people do play it safe. So which means everyone can play it safe, but the credit do not go to you. The credit goes to the person who actually steps into the unknown, get it, and pays a path for others. Don't no credit or no award or anything go to the person who playing it safe. You heard in life, you have to be able to risk to get a reward. If you're not risking, then what are you expecting? If you're not risking, what are you expecting? Think of it. I want you to think about this in a time when you was learning the bike. And I know all of us had to learn the bike, had to learn how to ride a bike. I want to ask you a question. Would you ever learn how to ride a bike if you was too scared of falling? Would you ever learn how to ride a bike if you were too scared of falling off? No. You would never know how to ride a bike if you was too scared to fall off. But I want you to think about it, and I want you to actually look at it. We learn from falling, getting up, and trying again. Simple. People fail when they stop trying, or they don't even try. People fail when they stop trying. Not when they experience temporary setbacks. I always heard that the setbacks are setting you up for a major comeback, but do not be scared to fail. When you fail, you're not starting back at ground zero. Now you're starting back from experience. And one thing that I do know about when you starting back from experience, now you have the courage to take on something more difficult or to take on something more challenging, because if I can get over this, I know I can get over the next thing, and I know I can get over the next thing. And now it's just in the process of you leveling up. And that's where we talking about courage. And I do know that courage can be built like a muscle. You know how you go to the gym? I don't know how many people go to the gym that's looking at this, but when you go to the gym and you bench pressing, you start small, then you build your way up to bigger weights, just to build that muscle a little bit more. But one thing that I do know is that when we are in deep, deep self-doubt, we form a weak identity. Self-doubt equals a weak identity. We think that we cannot be courageous because we done failed before and we just seem to be stuck and can't move forward. But the truth is that courage is a habit. I'm saying it again. Courage is a habit like any other. It can be built like a muscle. But if we face our fears progressively, your self-image will go from weak to strong to courageous. Notice I said we lifting. We lifting. You started out weak, then you upgraded to strong, and now you courageous. Start with small acts of courage now. Speak your mind more often. Look people in the eye. Look people in the eye and start practicing these small acts of courage today. You will feel more comfortable in doing more challenging things, and then eventually you'll realize that nothing is out of your reach. But hopefully you took some type of value from this live today, and actually go out there and build up your own courage. Because courage is the ability to do things that you don't want to do or that you fear that you cannot get done, but you do it anyway. You have to become that lion in the jungle. Don't be the lion off the Wizard of Oz or the Wiz that's going out there looking for courage, and you already have courage inside of you. But you just have to be able to follow some of these steps or either take something from it and build on it. Build that courage up like a muscle. Build it. But like I said, I always remember to love, serve, and grow. And if you don't follow me on my YouTube channel, what are you doing? You missing so much value on a week-to-week basis. Subscribe now. And do me a favor, follow me on IG at _whoisdt. That's _WHOISDT. And then DT Sturridge Hill on Facebook and YouTube. So that's DTSTURGHILL. And I will see y'all on the flip side. And let's kick this week off right with courage. And let's get to it. And let's get rid of all those fears, all right?